Yeah. All right, so shalom, shalom. All right, so keeps the sheet, back here another sit down, right? And first and foremost, I'm gonna start off by saying, I was gonna say Brakatah. Yeah, I'm about to say outside. I want to give all honor and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Rakakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who taught us this truth. And shout out to the whole elect. Start with the 144,000. Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, so me and the brother Hadabi are here with Revelation 13 breakdown, and through the Spirit, knowing that just going into how we seeing how Esau Edom right now at this point, their power has been they've been had the power they have. How about Shah put them in that position, but now you see now they coming down with that great wrath because we're at the end of this place. We're at the end of this kingdom. And this place is it has short time, which they know they have short time, but we know for a short period of time, how about Shah put them in position. Revelation 13, Apostle John, he saw this place come up, this beast come up, and Lord willing, like I said, we're gonna go into it, bring out a few precepts behind it, and the Lord willing is edifying. The brother guy, anything to say before we?
Not really. We can really just like the brother said, we can just go straight into it, break it down, bring out a few precepts. But one thing to understand is when you're dealing with the book of Revelation, right, the Apostle John, right, these are when he was on the island of Patmos, these are things that he saw, right? These are the things that he truly saw, you know what I'm saying, whether it be visions, dreams, so on and so forth, right? But what they did, or what he did, was he described these things the best way he could, right? He used languages that that he knew, but through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shah, we through the elders apostles of GMS on down are able to break these things down and understand them as they relate to modern terms, right? As they relate to us, as it is now.
Another quick point too, as the brother mentioned, Apostle John was a prisoner on the island of Patmos. Not mistaken, he was the last disciple left. And when you write it down, he's seeing the rise and fall of this place, the rise and fall all the way down to the microtrip, which we're gonna get into, man. And Romans 15:4, things are written aforetime for our learning, though we through patience and comfort, as Christians might have hope, merely paraphrasing, right? Hebrews 11:1, hope is the evidence of things not seen, as faith, right? So we having faith in these things, us not, he wrote them down to the best of his ability at the time, but like brother mentioned, through the spirit of how about shall we able to understand and read these things and understand these things, right? Because remember what the scriptures tell you, you're going to overcome him by the blood of the Lamb and word of his testimony, spirit of prophecy is that testimony. So we're going to be able to overcome him through these things of write these things down and, basically us being on that watchtower, being on point for these signs and things that are going to happen for these prophecies that's going to come to pass, that's showing us that we get close to our salvation.
So just going into it and read this right quick. Just proving the point. This is Revelation 1:9, right? It says, "I, John, who also am your brother and a companion in tribulation." Again, because he's saying he's a companion in tribulation because again he went through persecution as everybody else did. Paul, so on and so forth, right? So he was just an exile, right? He was sent here, by himself, right? He couldn't come back, right? Continuing on, it says, "And in the kingdom and patience of Hamashiach Yahushua was in the isle that is called Patmos," like we said, right? It says, "For the word of the Most High and for the testimony of Hamashiach Yahushua," right? And we know that Yahushua comes in what? The spirit of prophecy, right? So these this again, this is what the book of Revelation is all about. But
so these are Revelation 1. You can read down to verse 11.
Verse 10, it says, "I was in the spirit on the Lord's day, and heard behind me a great voice, as of a trumpet, saying,"
it's in red, so this is Yahushua, speaking to him, right? But
11, it says, saying, I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. And what thou seest, write in the book.
that's the point I wanted. What thou seest, write in the book, right? Once again, Romans 15:4. These are things that's going to, you know, Yahweh Shai, he told the prophets, not only just John though, you know, plenty prophets wrote things down, and most times is, for example, like Isaiah 13. At the time, Isaiah didn't understand, you know, Isaiah didn't understand that Isaiah 13 was talking about Babylon today, you know, because he was in the time he writing this, he was in the Neo-Babylonian Empire. But these things are written for times today that now, you know, another point showing you through the spirit and power of Yahweh reincarnation. Those prophets are still here today, just, you know, able to break these things down correctly and fully, right? Able to give you the 100% truth, right? It's going to allow you to be able to, you know, have a chance to overcome this beast, overcome this devil, right? You know, because for so long they've hid the truth, right? They hid these things, you know, they've hid the knowledge and understanding of Yahweh. They hid all things so that they can deceive everybody and trick everybody. But now we have the book. Remember, Yahweh opened the seals for us. Revelation, was that 5? If I'm mistaken.
I think so.
Is it 5? Open the seal thereof. But yeah, Khan, right? He opened it. Yeah, Khan. He opened the seals for us, right?
Read Revelation 6 and 1, 2.
Khan. So, but understand ultimately how shall open the seals for us, right? So now we have the true understanding, 100% knowledge of this book that the prophets and things that such wrote down for us to understand it. But that's really the point I finished it off, because there's a point I wanted to make. But it says, and send unto the 7 churches which are in Asia, Ephesus, right, and Smyrna, and Pergamos, and Thyatira, and Sardis, and Philadelphia, and Laodicea. If I'm not mistaken, the church of Ephesus is where Paul was at in
that's the Ephesians.
Ephesus. Yeah, kind. That's that. Kind. Ephesians 1 and verse 1. Paul, an apostle of Yahweh Shai, Mashiach, by the will of power, to the saints which are at Ephesus, and to the faithful in Mashiach Yahweh Shai. So you see these things; these are right. These things are written down for the children of Israel, right?
The saints.
The saints. What is that? Psalms 140,
149, or 148.
148, or I usually get 147, 148 mixed up.
I do too. I do it every time.
But these are written for the Israelites to understand, to get this knowledge and understanding, so that this is our true history. So it's 140. It's either 148 or 147.
I think so. 149 too, saying the song's praise and congregation of saints. But this is Psalms 149, 148. If it, I think I'm saying, but I don't want to swipe over. All right. Book of Psalms, chapter 148, and I'll click 149 again. And verse 13, it says, "Let them praise the name of the Lord, which is Yahweh." It says, "For his name alone is excellent. His glory is above the heaven and earth. He also exalted the horn of his people, the praise of all his saints, even the children of Israel, a people near unto him. Praise ye the Lord."
So the people, the children of Israel, are the saints. These things is written for our learning once again. So now we have our true history. Now we have our true knowledge. Now we have our true heritage, which Esau tried to steal from us, right? So, Lord willing, with that, you know, we can. You want me to read it, or you want to read it?
I can. So this is Revelation 13, and starting at 1. It says, "I stood upon the sand of the sea, and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy."
So it says, and he said, "And I saw the beast rise up out of the sea." You could grab the Revelation 17. I want to say, is that 15? We'll show you what that sea, who that sea is. Yes, sir.
This is Revelation 17 and 15. It says, "And he saith unto me, the waters which thou sawest, where the horse sitteth, are peoples and multitudes and nations and tongues."
So this sea is the people. So he saw this beast rise up out of the people, right? So it says, and who is this beast? You know, NATO and EU, right? You know,
The beast is NATO. You know, the 10 horns represent EU.
Khan, right? And so it says that having 7 heads, right? So you have the Greeks, which the Edom started their empire in the Greeks. You know, you got the Romans, you got the French, you got the Spanish, Germain the Major, Germain the Minor, and Great Britain. Right? So those are the 7 heads, right? Then you have the 10 horns, which is the EU, right? The European nations, right? The European Union, Slocky, right? And you know, which used to be known as the EEC, right? European Economic Community, if I'm not mistaken, what it is, but EEC, right? So these are 7 Edomite empires, right? That create that form into NATO, that conglomeration, right? You know, and that's rising up above the people, rising up on the people, which America comes out of that, right? America comes out of that the European nation comes out of Europe, right? Which they're carrying America on their backs, man. Right? So they see that this beast comes out of the people, and this beast is, you know, it tops all the people. You know, everybody got America got everybody in this allure, everybody in the, you know, in the love with the lifestyle of America. You know, it rules over all the people of the earth. Right? If I used to know Revelation, I want to say this. Oh yeah, verse 18. You can read verse 18.
What, 17, 18?
Mm-hmm.
It's Revelation 17, 18. It says, "And the woman which thou sawest is that great city."
Talking about America, Babylon, right?
Because like the elder Ramla was saying, you know, when you go into a city, right, you're a citizen of America. So America is really just a city. A citizen is somebody who is in a city. So it's really just America's one big city, right? But continuing on, it says, "Which reigneth over the kings of the earth."
So America has that allure, it reigned over the kings of the earth. We understand Yahweh Shah put them in that position, but they have that, right? They have that power over the world, man. Right? So and then upon his heads of name of blasphemy, right? That's the lie and the foolishness of them telling everybody, changing the images of Yahweh Shah, telling everybody they're the Israelites, you know, changing all the ordinance, right? They're enemy to Yahweh Shah. Adversary mean enemy. They're totally opposite of Yahweh Shah.
Right. And another point, another precept going into what you were saying about, you know, how America is sitting on these other nations, right? This is again Revelation 17 and 9, right? It says, "And here is the mind which hath wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sitteth," right? And the 7 mountains meaning what? Like governments or kingdoms. And they said, "Which the woman sitteth," that woman is that great whore, which is America. So America, you know, she sits on these nations, right? She, you know, she rides the coattails of these nations.
You got to understand, Esau was blessed with the fatness of the world. He was blessed with that, you know. And as we're gonna get into, right, we can continue reading down. Later we're gonna get into it and showing you how, you know, further on down when we continue reading, you're gonna see how, you know, it came in through the Greeks, right? And but really when Rome was established, that's when they really got that power, you know, that in Daniel 7, right? That's when they really got that power, that they came different, right? They came different, you know. And Lord willing, you know, we'll get into it as we read, right?
So Revelation 13 and 2, it says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority."
So you can go to Daniel 7. So he says, "And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard," and that leopard is the Greeks, right? Because as we mentioned before, the Greeks came in the power. It's like Esau came into power through the Greeks. In First Maccabees, it tells you about it, right? When they came into the world, evils multiplied into the earth. Beginning of Alexander the Great, right? Then you had I want to say Antiochus Epiphanes. I was thinking that's his name. He's the one who came in. That's one who I think that's the name of the. He was a Grecian. He came in. He was Hellenizing all the people.
I think it's Epiphanes.
Yeah.
Antiochus Epiphanes.
Antiochus Epiphanes, right? He's the one who came in and was Hellenizing all the Israelites, you know, everybody, right? Mainly Israelites, you know, turning them,
First Maccabees 1 and 10. It says, "And there came out of them a wicked root, Antiochus surnamed Epiphanes, son of Antiochus the king, who had been in houses at Rome, and he reigned in the 137th year of the kingdom of the Greeks.
And he came in Hellenizing all the people, making the heat. Just put it like this: we supposed to be circumcised. He made it into the where circumcision was weird. He got circumcision. He weird.
That's in this. You want me to read it?
Come on, go ahead. You can read it.
So just continuing on, right? Just showing how the brother was saying, man, this is where a lot of wickedness began to come out of, right? So this is First Maccabees 1, and continuing on verse 11, and I'll read down to 15 for your point. Right, it says, in those days went there out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen that are round about us, for since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow. So this device pleased them well. Then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do ordinances after the ordinances of the heathen. So again, you had Israelites who wanted to do after the ways of the Greeks, and that goes into the Hellenization, right? That goes into Israelites becoming like Greece, right? Becoming Gentiles essentially, right? And like you said, that king, right, which is Antiochus, he gave them license to do after them. He gave them permission to be like them, be wicked, right? And getting to the brother's point, right? Verse 14, it says, whereupon they built a place of exercise at Jerusalem according to the customs of the heathen, and made which they used to exercise naked, right? Verse 15, that's what I'm saying, it's weird, right? Verse 15, it says, and made themselves uncircumcised, and forsook the holy covenant, and joined themselves to the heathen, and were sold to do mischief.
So you got circumcision, you can't be in it, you can't do that. So in order to fit in with the norm, they went and basically was putting the skin back on their joint, and we understand it spiritually. And what is that, Romans 2? It says circumcision following the law, uncircumcision, right, is breaking the law. That's why Yahweh shall say, take away this uncircumcised heart, right? He'll take it away, because Jake fell into the ways of these other people, right? It is time the Greeks, right, when Esau comes into power, deceiving the whole world, But this is a quick point right here. This is called JewishHistory.org, right? It says the Hellenists, right? It says about the years 200 BCE, there arose among the Jewish people a group called Mizyavinim, right? It says, meaning Hellenists, who adopted Greek culture as a way of life to such a degree that almost invariably they gave up their Jewish culture and identity. For instance, the Greeks were great believers in nudity. Their sports were done in the nude. Their bathhouses were attended in nude. In the ancient world, the Jews and some Arabs were the only people who were circumcised. This, if you wanted to be a good Greek, you were embarrassed to go to the bathhouse or participate in sports. Consequently, Hellenized Jews underwent painful operations at that time with minimal anesthetics to restore their foreskin and appear Greek, man. Right? So going back to Revelations 2 real fast, it says, and the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. Because this is when Esau Edom comes into power, right? Through the leopard, which is the Greeks, right? And you can just if you got something, you can bring that as well.
I was also going into the Hellenists or the Hellenese. So I read this it's in the King James Bible Dictionary, right? Greek, it says, only found in the New Testament, where a distinction is observed between Greek and Grecian. The former, a Greek by race, which is it says it's in Acts 16, 1 and 3, and in Acts 18 and 7, and then Romans 1 and 14, it says, or a Gentile as opposed to a Jew, Romans 2 and 9 or 2 and 10, which I would have to go look to make sure that's correct. And it says the latter, meaning properly one who speaks Greek, is a foreign Jew opposed to a home Jew who dwelt in Palestine, right? So it's saying that there is a distinction, right? There's some who are like fleshly Gentiles, and there's some who are in the spirit. You could say Gentiles, like Paul said, know ye not that ye were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols. You know what I'm saying? So that's exactly what was going on in the times of the Maccabees. But just getting really back to the topic, right? Being Revelation 13, right? This is what Esau Edom does, man. This is that beast system, right? You have to comply, right? And that's another part of like the brother was just saying, you know, it's an adoption of Greek culture. But it says when a people is conquered, they must take on the customs, language, and religions, right? So you have to do these things, right? You have to take on the ways of you know, the people you were conquered by. And we know Alexander the Great was a conqueror. He conquered, you know what I'm saying, people. So Israel being one of those people, right? They had to be like the Greeks. Right?
And it's gonna get into that later in the lesson. How, you know, it talks about how, you know, they have power over the whole world, and it goes into how they, you know, it was the saints. You know, they got power over the saints, right? Which are the Israelites. Those are the main people. They had us in captivity, you know, oppressing us, things as such, right? But it says, "In the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard," because the Greeks was the beginning of the Esau civilization, right? That's when it was established, right? You know, like I said, we can read just the point of what the Greeks is.
This is Daniel 7:6. Right, it says, "After this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it four wings of a fowl, and the beast that had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it."
So that's going into the Greeks. And those 4 heads is like basically his four main generals, right, at that time. But you know, Alexander the Great, Alexander the Greek, if you want to call him, you know, came and conquered the known world at that time. As I mentioned before, it was the beginning of the Esau civilization, right?
Those four were I don't want to pronounce them wrong, but
Seculus is one of them.
Yeah, it was Cassander, Ptolemy, Seculus, and Lysimachus. Lysimachus, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. But those are those 4.
Right? And it says his feet were the feet of a bear, right? A bear represents Russia, and Russia is not a part of the 7, right? Russia is not part of 7 heads, but Russia is going to be the end of this empire. The feet is the end of the body, the end of something, right? So Russia's going to Ezekiel 38. Most High is going to put his spirit on them, and they're going to shoot missiles upon this place, right? Because Russia's going to be the end of that Esau civilization, man. They're going to bring an end to it, right? He said his mouth is the mouth of a lion. He was talking about Great Britain, because we understand that behind the scenes, America still gets orders from Great Britain, right? And it says, in the dragon and beast is interchangeable, because that dragon is going into the Roman Empire, right? And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority, because that's where, you know, this beast gets his power from, Rome, right? Because when Rome came, right, and Daniel said it was great, exceedingly, you know, it was fierce, it was diverse from all other kingdoms. Rome came and was very different. You know, it came strong, right? And that's where, you know, America and this beast gets its power from.
Talk about that in Daniel 7 again. Verse 7, it says, "After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly," like the brother was just saying. It says, "And it had a great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stampede or stamped the residue of the feet of it, or the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns." Right. So again, like those Romans, they took it further than anybody up to this point. Like when you go look at old maps, the Roman Empire, it completely covered really everything. You know what I'm saying, in the Eastern Hemisphere of the world.
And look what America doing now. That's what America on that same type of timing now. Yo, they got military bases everywhere, all type of thing. What you see even how Trump moving now. You know, they going out the Habakkuk 25. He put unto him all nations, man. They going out to gather the whole world. And then you see how they able to conquer it, though, because why? They were blessed with the fatness of the earth. That's what they were blessed with. That's what Yahweh Shai gave them. So that's, you know, they were blessed with the fatness of the earth and that sword. They should live by the sword, right? So we
verse 3. So Revelation 13:3. It says, "And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death."
And that's the Roman Empire, right? Because the Rome had failed, so you had those 1,000 years, right, where Rome was down. Revelation 25, we necessarily don't got to go into it, not 25, Revelation chapter 20, right, goes into how those 1,000 years where Esau was bound. It was under Jake, right? So it was seals over them. And when you really understand the seals on us right now, you know, we're under those seals, but Esau was down, right, for those 1,000 years. Those 1,000 years was, you know, from Esau being down into the Renaissance. That's the first period of those 1,000 years. And today was after those 1,000 years. Matter of fact, I'll grab it real fast. I can't read. If you got a point, you go ahead.
Yeah, I can go to it a little bit too. So we know, you know what I'm saying, the ruler Nerva, right? He was a Jake. So Esau had fell out of power at that point in time.
He was the first. They try to say it's Constantine, but Nerva was the first one. Well, I forgot what year he came in.
It's said to be around 30 AD that's when it became the Holy Roman Empire. But
Constantine came, and I was thinking he came in who kept the ways of the pagan ways of not for lack of a better word.
So that 1,000 years, right? When you got the Renaissance period is when, well, which we'll probably get into later about that dealer will being healed, right? But that and you know what, I really just save that until we get there, because if I'm not mistaken, it's gonna go.
No, that's the verse we in. Revelation 13.
Oh shit, it's in right next. It's like so. Let me read that part first. Then so Revelation 13:3. It says, I'm gonna start from the top. It says, and I saw one of his heads as they were wounded to death.
Before you brought to the Renaissance, can I read this real fast? So Revelation 20, we'll read verse 1 through 3, and I'm gonna jump now, because when you understand it, in Revelation 20, verse 4, 5, and 6, that's talking about the second 1,000 years. That's talking about a different 1,000 years than verse 1 3 talking about. So it said Revelation 20 and starting verse 1 says, and I saw an angel coming down from heaven. It's talking about Yahushua having the key of the bottomless pit. We understand that's Revelation 1:18, not mistaken, I have the keys and authority. Right? But Revelation 20, verse 1 again, I saw an angel coming down from heaven having the key of the bottomless pit. And that bottomless pit is Europe. Because you understand America comes out of Europe. They're the bottomless pit because they lack minerals, the resources, which you see Trump trying to go out and heap into all the resources right now. He's trying to go get the oil. He's trying to go get those things, right? Europe, they lack those things. And the great chain in his hand, right? That chain is when we held them down, it was under us, right? No, they was a nobody in the world, right? He says, and he laid hold on the dragon, right? Esau Edom, that old serpent. These are names or titles for Esau Edom, which is the devil, right? You know, that old serpent, which is, you know, that man had that evil spirit upon him, which came on Cain, which came on Esau, which came back through Esau.
So Revelation 3.
Right? It says, which is the
Revelation,
Genesis. It says, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years. Right? So this 1,000 years is talking about from Esau falling, right, to the Renaissance. They was bounded for those. They was bounded, right? They couldn't go out and deceive the whole world. They couldn't go out and move how they wanted to. It was under Jake, right? There was nobody in the world, right? He says, and cast him into the bottomless pit and shut him up and set a seal upon him. So it was a seal. They couldn't move. They couldn't do nothing, right? He says that he should deceive the nations no more to the 1,000 years to be fulfilled. After that, he must be loosed a little season, right? And like I say, verse 4, 5, and 6 are going into a different 1,000 years. Right? That's from the Renaissance to the place being destroyed until it's been in the kingdom. But I'm jumping down to verse 7, right? It says, when the 1,000 years are expired, Satan shall be loosed out of his prison, right? And shall go out to deceive the nations which are in the four quarters of the earth, right? So Satan was loose after those 1,000 years they was bound, which the brother finna get into, right? As I mentioned, when Esau fall, right, to the Renaissance. So they was loose and they came out and deceived the whole world. You know, they was you know, having uproars coming against the strongholds, right? You know, to a point where people just like, you know what, they deceiving people just gave into it, right? And it says which are the four quarters of the earth, and Gog and Magog, which is Russia, right, to gather them together in the battle, which is Armageddon, World War III, right? The number of whom was the sand of the sea, right? So you understand they was bound for those 1,000 years, as the brother finna get into, like I mentioned. They was bound for those 1,000. They was bound when they fell into the Renaissance, where they came out, and that's when they, you know, forwarded all their, you know, their polishes their ways back into the world again, right? As the brother gonna get into with the Renaissance. You got it.
Trying to figure out where I really want to start. So that 1,000 years is really going into the Byzantine Empire, right? We know the Byzantine Empire lasted from, it says around the, you know, like 390 around that area. CE, which is, you know, AD, which is, you know, current times now, to around the mid 1400s, which is when the Renaissance period starts. So that's 1,000. When you do the math, that's around about 1,000 years. You know what I'm saying? Give or take maybe 5 to 10 years, right? That's 1,000 years. So and again, you can't get around this truth, man, because it's clear cut, man. History follows exactly what Yahweh Shem Yahushua said it was gonna do, right? But Byzantine, it means backwards, right? And that's what Esau Edom calls the Dark Ages. Because why? Jake ruled. You know what I'm saying? Jake ruled during those dark ages. They you know, Esau again was bound, right? So let me read. You didn't read 20 and 3, did you?
Yeah, I read it.
Oh, you did read. I'm gonna read it again. This is so Revelation 20:3. It says, "And cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him, that he should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years should be fulfilled. And after that, he should be loose a little season." So we ruled after the Greco-Roman days, right? Though, so you got people who went off, right? When you got like the Moors, which is really where Islam comes from. So you know how that's again, it's the spirit of Jake over and over. Because when Jake go to prison now, what they come out as Muslims. They want to that's that same spirit coming back over and over and over, right? But getting into the Renaissance, right? The Renaissance, I'm gonna read this.
Quick point in that when you talk about the Moors, which are Israelite, and they was ruling in that time, right? Like when Christopher Columbus was trying to come out as well. We ruled in like Spanish, Portugal. We ruled in that. When you see the statues and all those things, that was Jake rulers, man.
Yeah, they ruled in Spain during that time, right? So where was I gonna read? Oh, Khan. Well, let me read this point right here. Right, it says, after conquering Jake, right, the Ottomans brought in their Greek ancient manuscripts and ideologies that helped kickstart the Renaissance. Right, because Constantine, he died in that 1453. Right, which was again around the time that the Renaissance started. Right, so the Renaissance was a European cultural movement that spanned from the 14th to the 17th century, marking a rebirth after the Middle Ages, which is what Renaissance means. It means rebirth, right? So this is so why do you need a rebirth if y'all was already in power? No, y'all as an Esau fell out of power, and y'all had to rebirth what y'all once had, which is that
deadly wound.
Yeah, exactly, that Roman Empire, right?
Yeah,
so
another quick point too. Renaissance, I was thinking it started in Italy. The Italian word for NATO is reborn, right? Rebirth, born, right?
So again, so it started right after those dark ages, that 1,000 years, right? And this is so what did they do? What did they do in the Renaissance? They changed the images. There's a word called iconoclasm, right? Icon that means what images, and then clasm means to change. If I'm not mistaken, let me make sure I fact check that.
To the noses on the statues, all type of things, man.
So the word iconoclasm, it means so icon means image, clasm means faces, right? So that's what they did. They changed the images, right? It means to reject, right, the images of the faces of the judges thereof. Because when you read the book of Maccabees, chapter 4 and verse, let me see. Oh, chapter 3 and verse 48. It says, "And laid open the book of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likenesses of their images." So that's what they did, right? Why, again, if they were in power to begin with, why would they have to do all that, right? So
I got a quick point. Just going into how showing that we was in rule, it's a little history, right? Like I said, Moors was just Israelites who practiced Islam and was ruling in Spain and Portugal. Yes, it says, yes, North African Moors ruled in Spain and Portugal, a period known as Al-Andalus from 1711 to 1492. They conquered the Iberian Peninsula, impacting its culture, architecture, and science, and leaving a lasting legacy in both the modern Spain and Portugal. The term Moor was used to describe various Muslim populations of North African of descendants who lived on the peninsula, right? Israelites was ruling and built all those things in Spain and Portugal, but we understand that those Moors were, once again, Israelites who practiced Islam, right? So we understand we was in rule, man, as the brother bringing out. We was in rule, right, for the time. During that time we was in rule, as the brother proving to you, Esau was down, right? At deadly wound, they was down, man, right? And they had to rebirth that Renaissance when they came back into power after those 1,000 years was up. But that was a quick point I want to bring up.
So again, just continue on to prove the point, right? This is Job 9:24. It says, "The earth is given into the hand of the wicked. He covereth the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? And we know who that wicked man is, man. That's Esau Edom, right? The wicked now is being revealed, man. You know, this is also Isaiah 25:7, right? It says, and he will destroy in this mountain the face of the covering cast over all people, and the veil that is spread over all nations, right? Because again, all the nations are what? Drunken with the wine of this place. They're drunken with the wine of Babylon, man. So he has to what? He has to destroy all that, man. He has to destroy this mountain. And again, we know mountains deal with, you know, nations or governments, right? And it's talking about Esau Edom, man. He's going to destroy, you know, the lives and the strongholds that Esau Edom has on the people.
That covered in cash is all the line calling us African Americans, calling us Mexicans, things as such, right? You know, calling us some bywords, things as such. You know, how about Shah is going to lift that off of us, and we're going to be known by the scriptures say, you know, you should not be reckoned among the people. But that's why it goes to the straightness of salvation, because when how about Shah come deliver, they're gonna know who the true Israelites are, right? You know, they ain't gonna see no blonde hair so-called white man cracking the sky. Nah, man, it's gonna be, you know, the so-called black man, you know, with you know, and they're gonna be confused. They're gonna be lost. You know, they're gonna see so-called black, so-called Hispanic, so-called Mexican, so-called natives, you know, being beat up to those chariots, man. You know, there ain't gonna be no Esau Edom, right? To the group who, you know, I forget their name, but you know, deliverance only for the Israelites, man. You know, and they ain't gonna deliver for no other nations, right? But
so again, Revelation 13:3, it says, and I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death.
As we seen, you know, Esau was down, right?
It says, and his deadly wound was healed.
As the brother brought out, it's the Renaissance period. So when they come in, the first 1,000 years they fall and they down, and the Renaissance period is when they come back into play. And not to go into it, but just to mention it, that goes to the second 1,000 years, right? To where the Renaissance, to the destruction and fall of this place, right? Until we in the kingdom. And in those first 1,000 years in the kingdom, we're going to be ruling nations fiercely, right? Because a lot of how about Shah going to be instituted? We're going to rule them fiercely. But after those 1,000 years, the other nations were going to their lands. But Esau, you know, they should not be renowned, man. They done. They're over with. They had their time, right? Continue reading.
Continue on. It says, and all the world wondered after the beast.
Right? So I was mentioning the Renaissance, right? When the Renaissance came, that's when, as the brother brought out, that's when their power, you know, that's when they pushed it, their policies, their ways all back into the earth, right? So now everybody like, boy, hold on, like, who's these people? Like, you know what I'm saying? So all the world wanted after that beast, all the world wanted after NATO EU. They came with a strong power, a strong wave, man, right? You know, and they get that power from Rome. Rome was powerful at that time. So now Rome giving this power into this beast, as we read in verse 13:2, right, which is, you know, America, NATO, EU, right? America's in that top seat of the Roman Empire, man, right? So now his ways is back instituted to the world, right? And even, you know, I was watching the elder lesson of the elder brothers, you know, going into, you know, verse 13 for me and the brother went into it, and, you know, point hit me when the elder mentioned, you know, how even in school, I remember I was in 6th grade, it was learning about the Renaissance, learning about Roman numerals, their calendars, things like that. And at that time, I used to be like, I'm trying to learn this like I ain't no Roman. Like for real, just a quick point. I had some homegirls, and we used to go to lunch, we used to have tests, because that stuff was hard, I ain't gonna lie. So we used to have tests, right? And we had a test. Everybody would leave to go to lunch, and one of us would basically linger in the classroom, you know, and he'd be like, hey, close the door when you come out, we leave to go to lunch. And we'd go get the answer sheet and get the answers to the test. You know, this quick point, because I used to always have to be, because he know I ain't know it. So I always had to be the one who used to have to miss like 3-4 questions so he wouldn't detect that we was cheating. But no, we didn't know that. Like, he trying to teach us, we in 6th grade, he trying to teach us about Rome and all that. We like, man, come on. But I remember the Renaissance, though. I remember I'm talking about Renaissance. That's when, you know, the Romans came back into power, right? That's why all the world wondered after that beast, right? That's when the power was given back into that beast, right? It was given back into Esau Edom, right? But we continue reading on.
It says, verse 4, it says, and they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast.
That dragon is the ancient Roman Empire, and that beast, you know, America, NATO, EU, right?
It says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? who is able to make war with him.
So you understand, you really can't. Only one who can come, only one who's going to destroy this place is Yahweh Shai, right? Psalm 17, hide from the which are your swords or your hand. Yahweh Shai put them in a position that they're in, for a reason, because it fulfill the left hand side for them, right? So there's no coming against Esau Edom in this place, not carnally, right? That's why we battle against spiritual wickedness in high places. Why we gotta stay focused in the spirit, right? Because we in a spiritual battle. The physical part, Yahweh Shai is going to come and destroy this place, right? But ultimately here on this earth, they blessed. That's what they blessing, right? The facts of the earth, right? And the sword, right? That's what they was given unto them, right? And you can't try on what Yahweh Shai said. And the prophecy shows that Yahweh Shai is going to be the one. We understand that Isaac, Yahweh Shai, same spirit who gave him the sword, he's going to come take it from him.
Like I said, man, like when you think about the beast, right? It's NATO. That's Esau Edom. You know what I'm saying? So what is America? How is America so proud? They proud that they got what? They think they got the best military. They got they got the best technology, so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? So they don't. Nobody feels like anybody can come against Esau Edom. And even if you want to say on the other side, when you're dealing with the Russians and so on and so forth, it's all the same things. Verse 5, it says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
So before we get into that 42 months, it was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, right? So they going out deceiving the people, changing the name, changing the ordinance, right? And I'll be at it. I go into the blue letter, but I'm not going to that word blasphemies, right? Because you on show you that these people are just they're creating lies and things as such, speaking, they're the opposite of Yahweh Shai. Lying, changing the images, changing the names, telling everybody. Matter of fact, could you grab Wisdom of Solomon 2? I want to say around about verse 12, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see. Oh, actually 2 and 13, right? 2 and 13. But you can read 12 and 13, right? But I'm gonna read this real fast. The definition of blasphemy. The word is blasphemia, right? And it says slander, detraction, speech injurious to another good name, right? Changing the names of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, changing the names and all that, right? Infamous, reproachful speech, meaning disrespect, right? Injurious and divine majesty, right? So they're lying. It says right here, blasphemia, vilification, especially against Yahweh, blasphemy, evil speaking, railing, right? So there's evil speaking, man. They're evil speaking against Yahweh Shai, right? You can read it real fast.
This Wisdom of Solomon 2, and I started 12. It says, therefore let us lie in wait for the righteous, because he is not for our turn.
Talking about Esau, they're not for our turn. We're waiting on the righteous to be Yahweh Shai. Because Esau, we don't want what they got, and they don't have nothing righteous for us. Continue reading on.
He says, and he is clean contrary to our doings.
The opposite to everything that that we do, because the things that are pleasing to Yahweh Shai are made known unto us. They're opposite of all that. They're adversary. Satan means adversary, the enemy, Yahweh Shai, adverse to Yahweh Shai.
He upbraideth us with our offending the law. With our offending the law.
They go against the law. They break the law. Things that say they do all these things, right? But they turn the ordinance, everything upside down, right?
It says, an objective to our infamy and the transgressions of our education.
Telling us we got to go to these schools to learn knowledge and whatnot. You got to be a scholar, things, which you don't. Not me noble called. When the Spirit comes upon you, you're able to understand this truth, man. You don't need no higher education to be able to understand this, But the point right here is in verse 13. If brother ain't got that, know that.
Verse 13 says, he professeth to have the knowledge of the Most High, and he calleth himself the child of the Lord.
You see that, and that's that blasphemy, man. Right? Calling themselves, going around saying that they're the Israelites, all these type of things, man. That's that blasphemy, the evil speaking of Yahweh Shai, man. Which Yahweh Shai, as the brother brought up, those covering, casting, those things, all that's going to be exposed. They've been exposed, right? And in the day of the Lord, everybody going to see it. Right now, a lot of people don't pay attention to it because they're caught up in the miracles that Esau, they're deceived, they're caught up in the ways Esau Edom. But in due time, everybody going to see it, man. Everybody going to know it, right? The brother got something you can...
Kind of, I was putting that in my notes.
Oh, Khan.
But
You can read verse
5 again.
yeah, Khan.
So going back to Revelation 13, verse 5, it says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given unto him to continue 40 months.
Khan, so that 42 months is 350 years. And me and the brothers meditating in the spirit before we went to the lesson, searching up and looking at this, right? So it started in 1619 to 1970s, when at Abba Bibbins, we understand it, reincarnation, Elijah, right? Brought the spirit of Habashan Shah came upon him, teaches truth, right? And that's 350 years, because in 1619, right? It says in 1619, two pivotal events occurred in the English colony of Virginia. The arrival of the first recorded enslaved Africans. We understand it. Those people enslaved wasn't Africans; those were Israelites. All right. The first recorded enslaved Africans, reading verbatim, but they really were Israelites in mainland English America at Paint Comfort, making the beginning of race-based slavery, the establishment of the House of Burgess, the first representative legislative assembly in the New World, planting the seed for American democracy, right? So from 1619, right, to 1970, right, and we were doing the math earlier, right? That's 300. Is really from 1619 to 1970 is 350 years. 351 years to 351 years, but that's 350 years, man, right? So they had a rule because why? The truth is a two-edged sword. As me and brother was talking about earlier, we understand the only reason those winds, Revelation 7, where you say hold those four winds back, the destroying wind, those nukes, those bombs, things as such. The only reason the destruction haven't came yet, because Habashan Yahshua said what? Hold it until the name and the knowledge of Habashan Yahshua is sealed in the remnant mind, in their head, right, which is their spirit, right? Understanding when they receive this knowledge, and that's that elect, that 144,000. Once they receive the knowledge, understanding, it's gonna pop off, right? But until then, hold it back. And during this time, we know we've seen the downfall of this kingdom. We've seen the downfall of this place. This place is going down here. Esau rule is coming to an end. Yeah, they might think they got it now, but now they can't go out and deceive us and trick us and fool us. Why? Because 1970, when the truth came back into us, right? Let me read this real fast, brother. I ain't got now.
You got it.
As we said, the truth came in 1970, about Bibbins, I'm mistaken the spirit of Elias, right? So this is Malachi, what might be Micah? Yeah, Malachi, chapter 4, right? In verse 5, it says, "Behold, I was seeing Elijah, the prophet, before the coming of the great and dreadful day of the Lord Yahweh. And he shall turn the heart of the fathers to the children, and the heart of the children to their fathers, lest I come and smite the earth with the curse," right? So when that truth came into us, it allowed us to return back to the Father, right? And that third day, we're going to be raised up, right? We're going to be the knowledge and understanding will be brought back into us. And when that third day, now, it's a patient process. So when the deliverance comes, we know a prophet thing that says it got to be fulfilled, right? But Esau power is done, man. You see all the tensions and things like that going on, right? Esau power is cooked. It's over with, man. This place is fallen. This place is done. The righteous see their fall. So they had a time to go out and deceive and trick and rule. Remember, we was down 350 years. We was going through it bad. But now the knowledge and understanding to us, as we mentioned earlier, this truth is our sword. So now we are ready for battle. Are we fighting in the spirit of Habashan Yahshua? Now we got this truth. Now we got our weapon, right? Remember, the weapons are not carnal. Spiritual wickedness in high places. Esau, during slavery, they want to control our minds. They want to control what we thought, what we think. That's what they want to do now. That's why they want to come out with that chill, things of that such. Right, when the brother Kakam, I was thinking, one of the brothers mentioned how Esau got that thing to where they want to see your dreams and all those type of things. Now they want to see these things, but it's pretty how about Yahshua. Now we're adopted in through Yahshua, and now hey, we're back, and now we're just waiting on this place to fall, right? And the kingdom of Yahshua been raised up.
Okay. Verse 6, right? It says, and he opened his mouth and blasphemed against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
So he speak against the name, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, his tabernacle, which is the Israelites, beginning with the elect, and them that dwell in heaven, right? The angels, right? As the elder was saying, as the elder even saying, and we was even thinking about it as well. It's even kind of funny how you think about it, right? When you see chariots, UFOs, they say them aliens things that says, man, them are angels, man. They speak evil, foolish, folly is said at great dignity, man. Folly is said at an all-time high. They speak straight foolish against Yahweh Shah and everything of it, right? So we can continue reading.
Verse 7, it says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
The saints are, as we brought out earlier, Psalms 148, which are the Israelites, right?
It says, and to overcome them, and power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
So the facts of the earth, which they was blessed with, Genesis 27, around verse 38, right? They was blessed with the facts of the earth. That's what they were given. If you got something to say on that.
I could read that.
This
is so it's Genesis 27:28. It says, therefore the Most High give thee the dew of heaven and the fatness of the earth and plenty of corn and wine. Let people serve thee and nations bow down to thee. Be Lord over thy brethren, and let thy mother's sons bow down to thee. Cursed be everyone that curseth thee, and blessed is he that blessed thee.
So they was blessed with the facts of the earth. And the main people they was given was the Israelites. So they had us confounded and bound for a long time. But now we're woken up, right? Baruch chapter 2, we're woken up in the lands of our now we brought back to our knowledge and understanding. And that's what the next verse and chapter 13 gonna get into, right?
Verse 8, it says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him.
All the people of Revelation 17, chapter verse 2, Revelation 17 and 18 as we read, Revelation 18, verse 2 on down, right? Everybody drug out that fornication of Babylon, these beasts, America, NATO, EU, man. Everybody's caught up in those ways, right?
Starting at the top of verse 8 again, it says, all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, and whose names are not written in the book of the life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world.
So you understand that everybody gonna fall into the ways except the elect, right? So if you can hold Matthew 24. 24, and I grab Romans 8 real fast. So this is Romans 8 in verse 33, right? It says, who shall lay anything to the charge of Yahweh's elect? It is Yahweh that justifieth. Who is he that condemneth? It is Hamashiach that died, yet rather that is risen again, who is even at the right hand of Yahweh, who also make intercession for us. Who shall separate us from the love of Hamashiach? Shall tribulation or distress or persecution or famine or nakedness or peril or sword, as it is written, for thy sake where we are killed all day long, we are counted as a sheep for the slaughter. You understand Yahweh Shah, he was at sheep for the slaughter, but we're in that similar process, facing those things. We're not necessarily dying, getting hung on the cross or whatnot. We facing those things. We die daily to this world. We're in that process. We're in that similar process, man. We're going through these things, these hardships, which none of these things are going to pull the elect away from Yahweh Shah, right? It says, nay, in all these things, we are moved the conquerors through him that loved us. For I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angels, nor principality. A quick point, Yahweh Shah showed us this. When he laid down, he ain't stopped the will of the Father just because he's gonna die. No, he laid down, he gave up a body, gave up his body for it. And we gotta be ready to do that same thing, man. It says, nor powers, nor things present, nor things to come, nor height, nor depth, nor any creature, nor any other creature shall be able to separate us from the love of Yahweh, which is in Mashiach, Yahweh Shah, our Lord. Right? So all these people are going to fall into the way of these beasts except for the elect, because nothing can pull them away, right, from the love of Yahweh Shah. And you can read that. Another quick precept proves that.
24 and what?
Matthew 24 and verse 24.
This is Matthew 24 and 24. It says, for there shall arise false Hamashiachs and false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, and so much that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. So
everybody, it says that, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, right? He's doing all these things, he got the power, that he got the allure, right? He got everybody in the disarray, but the elect not falling for it. The elect ain't going for none of it, man. No, ain't nothing gonna pull the elect away. They gonna call all these things, but nothing can pull the elect away. Right? The elect gonna be the ones who stay focused to the end, which are those angels, which were, Ephesians 1 and 4. Right? The same ones who helped Yahweh create this earth.
Kind of straight to the point. 2 Corinthians 2 And 11, lest Satan should get an advantage of us, for
Mhm.
we are not ignorant of his devices, man. So we don't we know exactly what's going on, man. So we, of course, we know not to love Esau, Edom, and their system and their technologies and they think we're not wild by these things, you know what I'm saying? These
Mhm.
things are simple for us, but you know what I'm saying, the world, again, going back to like Revelation 17, so on and so forth, right?
Mhm.
They're drunken with that wine, man. They're when you're drunk, you're impaired. You can't see the truth for really what it is. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? You just doing shit. You doing whatever pleases your flesh. You know what I'm saying? When you're quote unquote intoxicated. You know what I'm saying? You're doing what pleases your flesh, and what pleases your flesh, America's gonna please your flesh. They're gonna cater to whatever you want. You can be anything you want to be in America. You know what I'm saying? You want to be I mean, you can go down the list. You know what I'm saying? You could do anything you want to do. But
And also Revelation 17, it goes into the scarlet color that's on the beast on the horse as well. That's that costliness, the riches and the things, it says that make the people look past the immortality and the wickedness that America has going on, this beast system has going on, right? It makes people look past it, right? Because it brings in the money, the things of that such, right? You got these vassal states who get their power to America because they bring in the riches and things of that such, right? But we continue reading on.
Kind of continuing on, verse 9, it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear.
Mm-hmm.
He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints.
So, what what do you think this means? Who led people into captivity? Who as we just read, 1619, those 42 years, 350 years, where was Jake at? In captivity, right? So guess what? Esau Edom, you're going to go into captivity, right? All that killing you've been doing, it's going to come right back on you. It's going to be a recompense. How is going to bring a recompense right back upon you, man?
I was gonna say, even going back to because you had mentioned before count, like you said, those 350 years, like the scripture saying in what Baruch, right? In the land of their captives, they shall remember themselves. So, and that, and again, I'm going back in a couple of verses, but in that, what was it, 1970s? That's when that began, man. It's all prophecy, and prophecy must unfold. All right, but again, getting back into this verse 9 and 10, right? Like it says, he that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. You kill with the sword, you must be killed by the sword. And what was Esau blessing? The sword. So that's just the way the world works. Esau is going to be destroyed with their blessing, man. That's been distant since the beginning, right? And I read a quick precept. This is Amos 1:11. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4 I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever, man. So that's what's gonna have to happen with Esau Edom. What's that? Is that Malachi 1:4?
I'll build it, throw down the
is that
indignation
forever? Yeah, kind of. Who they have indignation for?
And even a quick point, I'm glad you mentioned that, because when we think of when they said I will build up, and that's how I will build up. You will build up and throw down, because Esau was bound, right? So they came back. Oh, we're gonna build up. We're gonna build up this this beast system, this kingdom, right? But Yahweh is gonna come throw it down. So they can't live by the sword. So the sword is gonna come back on them, right? Yahweh, you say to myself, you think I come bring peace on the earth? Nay, but a sword.
This is Malachi 1:4. I really started 1, right? It says, the burden of the word of the Lord to Israel by Malachi. I have loved you, saith the Lord. Yet ye say, wherein hast thou loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother?
And not our brother no more. It used to be our brother, but they're not our brother no more.
Saith the Lord, says, yet I loved Jacob, and I hated Esau, and laid his mountains and his heritage waste for the dragons of the wilderness.
Quick point in that, Genesis chapter 36, where it tells where dang, it's like it's a point go to it real fast. It's like Ezekiel 35, Mount Seir is where Esau dwells. Genesis 36 tell you where Esau dwells, right? Here's where generations come from, right? Esau Edom. But Ezekiel 35, it tell you, verse 2, so the man set thy face against Mount Seir and prophesy against it. He said to it, this is the Lord Yahweh, Behold, O Mount Seir, I am against thee. I will stretch out my hand against thee, and I will make thee the most desolate, right? And those just verses 2 and 3. But as you read the chapter, it's telling you how, because they had perpetual blood against Israel. So Yahweh Shem is going to come destroy them, right? Lay their mountains waste. They'll lay their heritage waste. You're going to destroy them, and they're going to be, they're not going to be renowned, man. They're going to leave neither root nor branch. But it's like you.
Verse 4, it says, whereas Edom saith, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Thus saith the Lord of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down. And they shall call them the border of wickedness. Again, like we said, what was that, Job 9:24? You know what I'm saying? That wicked, that's Esau, Edom, right? It says, I'm gonna start from the middle again. It says, they shall build, but I will throw down, and they shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom the Lord have indignation forever, man. So it's all that same thing, man. He kept his wrath forever towards Esau, and that's how it's gonna be. That's why they're gonna be enslaved, right? Because like I said, leading in captivity shall go into captivity. So they're gonna have to be enslaved for 1,000 years also, right? And then they're gonna be done away with after that,
And the quick point is further for how we were talking earlier. We was bringing in how that deadly wound, right? It says in the verse we just read, it says we were impoverished, but we will build, right? I'll show the definition of the word impoverished. It says impoverished means being reduced to poverty, lacking basic necessities, or being depleted of richness, like it, strength or vitality, applying to people, communities, land, or even abstract conceptions like creativity. What does that sound like? Revelation 20, man. Right? They was bound for those 1,000 years. Right? Cast to that bottomless pit, man. They was bound. There was nobody in the world, man. They was in poverty, right? But he said, we're impoverished, now they're gonna come build. Yeah, they got this kingdom. They was blessed with this, right? But guess what? How about Shah's gonna come destroy this place? He's gonna tear it down. Right? But we can get back to Revelation.
So verse 11, Revelation 13:11, it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth.
So it's 4 beasts, right? So you have the Syrians, you have the Syrian, which really was the Babylonians came and took them over with Nebuchadnezzar, right? But so you really have the Babylonians, right? First empire, you have the Greeks. It's like you had the Medo-Persians, right? The Medes came first, but the Persians came very more powerful, right? Then you have the Greeks, which was the establishment of Esau's civilization, right? Then you have the Roman Empire, right? So then the Roman Empire, it talks about a little horn that come up out of that Roman Empire, right? Which is that little horn is America, right? And as I mentioned earlier, where it says Revelation 13:2, reads real fast, says, and the dragon was the Roman Empire, the beast, right? Gave his power and seat, in his authority. So this is where the beast gets his power from, the Roman Empire, right? The ancient Roman Empire. This beast NATO. NATO is the Italian word for reborn. When was the Roman Empire reborn? Through the Renaissance, right? So this beast, this little horn, is talking about America, because America is in that power seat of the revised Roman Empire. This is the revised Roman Empire here today, right? So we can, if you got some on it, you can.
Just going into Daniel 7, right? So again, I'm read verse 7 again. So it's Daniel 7:7. It says, and after this I saw the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns.
10 horns representing the European Union.
It says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn. Before,
it's like a quick point. It's like I'm gonna say this to me to cut you off. But back then you had those, and Rome had those 10 horns too, right? We just refer, back then you had 10 European nations that was in league with Rome, but today those 10 horns represent the European Union, right? And we understand it's gonna get into how America mimics everything with Rome, because Rome, that's where this beast gets his power from. NATO, EU, that's where it gets his power from. But it's like we continue our reading that. Verse 8.
So beginning verse 8 again, it says, I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, where before whom there were 3 of the first horns plucked up by the roots, and behold, and in this horn were eyes like the eyes of man, and the mouth speaking great things. So again, you know what I'm saying, that little horn being who? That's Babylon the Great. That's America, right? And those three horns, that's the French, the Spanish, and the British, which out of the British came what? The 13 colonies that started America, right? You know, when you got what was it, the Revolutionary War, when they seceded from Britain, so-called seceded from Britain, so on and so forth, right? That's where this came out. That's where that little horn came out of. It came out of those three that were plucked up by the roots, right? And then it said, continuing on, it says, and behold, in this horn were like the eyes of man, and a mouth speaking great things, right?
That wisdom, that blasphemy, the miracles, all those things that Esau, has, the fierceness, right? They just, look at Trump. This is a perfect example. He just going over there to Venezuela do what he do because the military that America has, right? The military might that they have. So they just pop off at anybody. They just go, do what they want to do. They got they're smart, with knowledge and increasing that they're smart. They got all these weapons, all these type of things, right? I was with my brothers yesterday, and they were just talking about how, if you see how they went in so smooth to Venezuela, like the Craft and Cunning, man, that serpent. They went in so smooth. They said like the one jets just came in easy without no type of rebuttal or nothing, just how smooth they came in, man.
So going back to Revelation 13 and reading verse 11 again, right? It says, and I beheld another beast coming out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon.
So as we showed you, is another beast is talking about America, right? And those two horns is Democrat and Republican. Right? That lamb is how they speak, as if they care in a soft manner, as if they got care about you, if they got your best interest in mind. But it says that he spake as horns like a lamb, that's that soft manner, but he spake as a dragon. The draconian law, the draconian way, his draconian system, man. Right? How harsh and evil it is. I know the brother probably got some on it as well.
Just a precept of that. This is Psalms 55 and 21. It says, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart, and his words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords, man. So again, that's how your politicians speak, right? And that's always been the thing, man. When it comes to America, you always got the people of America that say, well, they said they was gonna do this, they said they was gonna do that. Of course they did. They speak. They seem like a lamb, you know what I'm saying? They seem like, they all for you, they're gonna help you, yada yada. But we know at the end of the day, they're there to get a job done, you know what I'm saying? They just need to get in a position of power, man. But the citizens of this place are, dumb. But that's all you had on that?
Yeah, Revelation 13:11. Yeah, so mention how that beast is America, right? And he had two horns like a lamb, the two horns once again, the Democrat republics, right? And like a lamb. The lamb is that soft manner, but the draconian law, his draconian ways, the precept the brother brought out. Right, so we have verse 12.
So verse 12, it says, and he exercised, or Revelation 13 and 12, it says, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him.
Good point. This is why this truth, especially when you seek this truth. As you seek here, you will really understand how about outside, because it's really plain, right? So we telling you how, this beast get their power from going back to Revelation 3 and 2 again, and the dragon, which is the ancient Roman Empire, gave him his power, his seat, his great authority. Daniel 7 and verse 7 we just read you how the Roman Empire was strong exceedingly. It was a powerful, diverse, right? And through that Renaissance is when this what this beast system, America, NATO, EU, it gets his power from. It gets because Roman was powerful back then, but now America's coming through. They're coming through on that now. And it's getting that power from that first beast, which is the Roman Empire, right? And he exiled all the power of the first beast before him, right, which is the Roman Empire, right? And causes the earth and all of them that dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed, right? So when the Renaissance came in, that's when they enforced all their policies and ways. When you go to First Maccabees 8:15, when they create the Senate House, the voting, the tributary, the taxing, America do all that because why? That's the same thing that Rome does. This is a revised Roman Empire today, right? This is the exact thing that Rome had going on, right? Reincarnation with Trump, that's Nero, man, right? Look at the way Nero moving, You know, look at Lady Nero was moving back then, causing people to uproar, connect the people. You know, which called the Jewish the Jewish rebellion, revolt, whatever you want to call it, which led to Jerusalem end up being taken down. Look at Trump now, causing uproars, causing people to, you know, it ain't nothing new under the sun, man. It's all plain and simple. But he exercised the power of that first beast. It's talking about the Roman Empire, because America mimics all the ways of that Roman Empire, man. Right? Another brother got something on that.
It's really just that the brother really broke it down perfectly. Because like I said, he exercises all the power of the beast before him. So everything that, like we said earlier, Rome covered basically the whole Eastern Hemisphere back in those days. So what did America do? That horn that came out of it, they took that same power, and now what? You got America really influencing the entire world, which again goes back into like the scripture's saying, man, that these nations are drunk with that wine, man. They're what's it say? They're in bed with this place. That fornication, right? They're in bed with America, man, because America has all of that power.
And that deadly wound was healed when this place was established. This was that Renaissance. Then they established America. America's that enterprise, right? America's that enterprise that they needed, you know, to get it going. Because remember, Europe, they lacked their bottomless pit. You know, that the European nation that's carrying America, that's that bottomless pit. They lacked the resources, the mineral things that such. So they had it. They needed that enterprise to establish it. That's why they came over here, you know, and stole the land from Jake. They took the land from Jake. You know, took land from Gad, doing these things, right? You know, enslaving the people, raping the people, doing all these things, man. Come on, man, right? This is, you know, man. This is you know, it's going to be a recompense upon it, but you know, this truth is here for a reason. There's a reason how Bashan Yahushua allowed the truth to get back to it, because now we understand it. So now Esau has been revealed. So now he can't trick and deceive the people. Much more. Now you have a lot of Jake who lost, right? Who caught up in his word, but the elect, as we read earlier in verse 8, the elect ain't going for that. They're not falling for that, because now we see it. 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that son of perdition, that man of sin, he's revealed, right? But
continuing on, Revelation 13:13, it says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men.
His bombs, his missiles, his technology to create these drones that go over and drop bombs. All the time. But come on, man. Esau, you know, got smart.
Nobody has ever dropped atomic bombs but America. It never been done before, and it hasn't been done since. When they dropped those 2 atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki,
was it like Fat Man and Little Boy? The names of them always kill me. What was the names of the bombs on Japan? Bro, you hear the name, that's crazy. Yeah, Little Boy and Fat Man. Those are the names of the bombs they dropped.
They dropped atomic bombs on Japan, and again, that had never been done, and it hasn't been done since, man. But those are those, like you said, I'm reading it again. It says, and he doeth great wonders, so that he make a fire come down from heaven. That's that fire that comes down from heaven, man. And again, like I said in the beginning of this lesson, this is Paul describing these things the best way he knows how, the best way he can.
Apostle John.
Oh, Salakia. The Apostle John, right? Saying these things the best way he can, man, from using, you know, the things that they knew back then, right? Because you could only, he wouldn't know how to say an atomic bomb, you know what I'm saying? So this is like fire coming from heaven, man. But
I got a quick precept. Elder Apostle Romla went into this a little while ago, because you know, the guy who made the atomic bomb, you know, he said something like, I become the death destroyer of the world, because he when he figured out, you know, what was going on. Because now the scriptures tell you, though, the wars back then, you know, it was fought with swords. You hear clanging and noise, all that type of thing. But this war is gonna be fought with nuclear power, nuclear missiles. This war is gonna be a nuclear war, man. World War III is gonna be a war that is different. It's gonna be a different type of war, right? This is Isaiah 54:17. I mean, it's like in 16, right? And you understand how about how Shah allowed them to create these missiles and create these things, because all these things they building is ultimately leading up to the prophecy where how about how Shah said, to where they're gonna Armageddon, they're gonna fight against each other, right? And then how Shah is gonna come wipe them out, right? So this Isaiah 54:16 says, behold, I have created the smith that blow up the coals in the fire. You know, the smith create weapons, things that such. Right, but the modern day smiths are who? The scientists, right? It says, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work. I have created the waster to destroy, right? And that's talking about the atomic bombs, these ICBM missiles, intercontinental ballistic missiles, right? You know, they created all these things. The technology has went up. The modern day Smith or these scientists, they put these atoms together to create all these bonds and these wastes and things of that such, man, right? Which eventually in that day, real quick, Isaiah 9, I want to say in verse 5, it says, for every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, swords clanging, yelling, thing that such, right? It says, and garments rolled in blood, stab somebody, blood going all over, right? But it says, but this shall be with burning and full of fire. So this war is gonna be a burning with full of fire. What does that mean? These atomic bombs dropping, right? He makes these bombs drop. They have these drones going over to drop missiles, things that such, man, right? You know, that's what Esau was blessed with, right? With some same things he was blessed with, they're gonna come back on him. Lead into captivity, so go into captivity. Kill the sword, must be killed with the sword.
This is Isaiah 14 and straight to the point. 16, it says, they that see thee, and again, like it said, in Revelation 13:13, it says, maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, right? So back to Isaiah 14 and 16, he said, they that see thee shall narrowly look upon thee and consider thee, saying, is this the man that made the earth to tremble, that did shake kingdoms, man? How did he do that? Again, with these bombs, man. They you know, that's how you shake up the earth. But my lights come on. But kind of continuing on, unless you have more.
Okay, now we good.
Kind of verse 14, 13, Revelation 13 and 14, it said, and deceive of them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth that they should make an image to the beast which had the wound by a sword and did live.
So we understand that, you know, America mimics all the ways that rise from an empire, right? And so now they going out into the world to enforce this policy, and you know, in their ways, their policies, everything about them, right? You know, and how they do these things, right? They says deceive them the sight of those, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had the power to do, right? So you go to Revelation 16 and 13, right? Actually, I'll read verse 13. He says, and I saw 3 unclean spirits like the frogs coming out of the mouth of the dragon, right? So you have the military might, right, which is the Pentagon, Langley, Virginia. You have the City of London States, like the financial headquarters. You have the Roman Catholic Church, right? Those you know, it's like no. That's the false prophet. The unclean spirit is the, let's see if I can remember it. So I know it's the Langley, Virginia, the headquarters, right? You have the financial headquarters. Then you have there's one more, financial headquarters, which is London, UK. Then you have the London City States, right? I forgot what the London City State. Elder Foster Romley, when he broke this down, I forgot what the London City States, because they come out of the mouth of the dragon. I know it's Langley, Virginia, the Pentagon. You know, that's their military headquarters. London, UK, the financial headquarters, and the London City States. That's where the Rothschild does. Well, I'm trying to see. I basically, I want to say that's where they.
London is that financial capital.
I want to say the London City States is where like the, basically like the command center. I want to say something like in that aspect, right? You know, and Lord willing, you know, study more on that and go into that, Lord willing, the Spirit lead us and go into Revelation 16 breakdown. Right, but it continues going on. It says, out of the mouth of the beast, right, which you know in NATO EU, right, and it says out of the mouth of the false prophet. The false prophet is the Roman Catholic Church, right, and it says, for they are the spirits of devils, right. And we understand it. The Vatican cities were the I think, is that what it is? Vatican City. I gotta study them, but Vatican City.
That's where the
Roman Catholic Church is, and the word Vatican, the verb Baptiste, meaning prophet, and then. Let me go to my notes. And then I know the can, I mean, is the Mayan word for serpent, right? Let me see. So you got the word vati, because the Latin word vatis, which means prophet, right? And can is the Mayan word for snake. So they're prophets of the serpent, prophets of the snake. That's what these people are, right? It says, for they're the spirits of devils working miracles, right? Which go forth to the kings of the earth and the whole world to gather them together to the battle of the great day of the Almighty. So they're blessed to do these miracles. And one of their main miracles today is the technology, right? You know, the technology, AI, all these type of things, right? They have the image to do these things, the power to do these things, which wow the people, you know, which put the people in a shock, like, dang, but these these got to be the children of Yahweh Shem. So these got to be chosen people, man. These got to be something. Anyway, how these people able to do all these things? And these people deceive deceive the people with those miracles and with those things, man. Right? How the people believe in them, thinking that they're the righteous, thinking that they're the chosen people, right? So we can go back to Revelation 13.
So it's Revelation 13 and 15.
Mm-hmm.
It says, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast,
Mm-hmm.
that the image of the beast should both speak
Mm-hmm.
and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed.
So they get down, lay down. They're enforced. Once that Renaissance started, and once that Renaissance came back, and their agenda, their whole plan was, power was forwarded out to the earth again. You either gonna get down, lay down with their ways. There's no coming up against this place, right? What us teaching is truth. We prophesying against the whole kingdom, man. Prophesying against the whole people, where they can, dang near any point, try to come against it and use you speaking against this place against you. Hey, you speak against this place again, such gonna happen to you. But hey, we ain't scared of it, right? But it says that he had the power to give life unto the image of the beast, right? Boosting it up. He got the power to deceive the people. He got the power to make everybody fall in love with that. It says that the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as will not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And that's self-explanatory, man. You go against this, since you go against this place, they gonna, hey, what type of time they gonna try to come on, right?
Verse 16,
Mm-hmm.
right? It says, and he causes all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their foreheads.
And this is going into the mark of the beast, right? The RFID chip, man, right? And that's that. Them wanting to be in that God-like, they want to have that God-like status. They want to control everybody. They want to know what you're doing, know what you buy, it's the new world order, man. That chip. They insert that chip in, they can track you, all type of things. You have a birth certificate, you're not gonna need none of that no more. Because everything gonna be in that chip. You know how you go to the what's his name, Bishop Nathaniel was saying, the mark of the beast is your phone. You know how you go to the storage your phone and you use the chip to pay? No, you ain't gotta do that no more. You just put your hand up there, put your wrist up there, man. They trying to implant a chip within you, right? Wherever you get it at, They gonna try to, I think it's what's that, UK, they've been implanting it already. Right?
The Neuralink, right? And even like places like Whole Foods, right? You can already use the palm of your hand to pay. Because it's one thing to know about it, to know that it's in parts of the world, but it's another thing to see it with your own eyes, man. I had went into a Whole Foods one time. They have a system where you can pay with the palm of your hand. So you think it's not technology? It continues to advance, right? So you don't think that when they advance to the palm of your hand, now they're just gonna put a chip in your hand. It's gonna make it easier that way. That's gonna be the way you get in and out of places. So on and so forth. As we continue on to read verse 17, I'll go ahead and read verse 17.
I got a definition of the mark. It says the charagma, right?
Strong's G 5480. Charagma.
Charagma, right? It says a stamp and imprinted mark of the mark stamped on the forehead or the right hand as the badge of followers of the anti-Hamashiach, right? So when you take this beast, or it's like when you take this chip, you're going against Yahweh Shem. This is the mark of the beast, man. This system, this beast system, they want to take that chip so they can basically own you at that point. Basically you giving it into them. Revelation 18:6 tell you there's no repentance. Well, not 6. What is that right? Verse? I know Revelation 18, right? But it's no repentance for this chip, man. There's no coming back from that. You take this chip, man, you're done, right?
But again, verse 17, it says, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark, or the name of the beast, or the number of his name. So like the brother was saying, this is them branding you. This is you they're marking you as their property. You belong to that beast system, right? You have when you take that MOTB, you have now said, I do, I comply with, Babylon. I comply with that with the great whore, with the beast, right? I don't belong to Yahweh Shem Yahushua. That's essentially what you're doing. So that's, again, you cannot take that, because like the brother was saying, there is no repentance for it, right? You can't come back from that mark, right? There is no, like, I think if I'm not mistaken, IUIC, they said you can repent for it. You know what I'm saying? They said if it were to be, like the MOTB, you can repent for it, which we know you cannot, right? That's not how that works, man. That's the ultimate that's the ultimate sin, But
I'm gonna go to that precept real fast in Revelations, proving that this is Revelation. Slacky. We said 18. It's 14. Slacky. 14, starting at verse 8. He says, "And there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, because she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath of fornication. And the third angel followed him, saying with a loud voice, If any man worship the beast in his image and receive his mark in his forehead or in his hand, the same shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation." We did sit down the other day going into those who are not, those who have certainly drunken, right? Because we don't supposed to drink in that cup. Esau can't skip that cup. They're going to have to drink it double, fill it double. They're going to have to swallow it all, right? Ain't no getting away from it. But if you give in to those ways and follow those ways with them, guess what? Micah 2:10. It's going to be a sore destruction for you, man. Right? It says, the saints shall drink of the wine of the wrath of Yahweh, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation. That righteous judgment, which the brother brought out, this Malachi 1:4, which the Most High have that indignation unto the Esau Edom, and shall be tormented with fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and the presence of the Lamb. Because when Yahweh shall come, they're going to come destroy this place, man. The chariots going to be beaming this place up. Hey, 2/3, and these other nations are gonna be getting cooked up, man. They're gonna be getting done away, man. Gonna be the rays from the chariots gonna be beaming up and all that. Even and it's gonna be, you gonna have World War III, you gonna have that aftermath, then you gonna have Yahweh Shai coming down, tearing them up, because they gonna turn, and Mr. World War III, Yahweh Shai gonna come, they gonna turn and start fighting against him. They gonna come together, start fighting, and it's trying to come against him. That's Esau's whole objective. Try to fight for eternal life. They know what they trying to do, man. But I know the elders mentioned earlier about, when they try to go up into the heavens. Yahweh Shai, the truth came, right? They try to go to the heaven, which you can't. Come on, man.
Trying to send satellites and stuff like that.
Yeah, man, it ain't gonna work. You can't reach to the Father, man. They know they trying to do it, man. The scriptures say they'll exalt themselves about anything that's called God. They know their whole objective, and the Yahweh Shai is revealing that. Through the prophets, through the teachers, right? You're revealing that, man. Right, but
you can read the next verse too.
You talking about Revelation 14? Oh, and this is verse 11. It says, "And the smoke of their torment ascended up forever and ever, and they have no rest day nor night, who worship the beast in his image, whosoever receives the mark in his name."
So like you say, man, you're not gonna have rest. You're not gonna be able to get away from whatever judgment Yahweh Shem Yahushua gonna have for you, and you know what I'm saying, in those days.
Another quick point, and that smoke of their torment set up forever and ever, meaning this place gonna be desolate. This place gonna be done away with, right? Anybody else who will try to align with this place gonna be done, right? And we know that the elect is gonna be not like how the elect children of Israel gonna be reborn again in the kingdom through the elect seed. But during that time, you're gonna face that torment with them, and this place is gonna be done away with forever. That smoke that's going up forever. That don't mean you're just gonna, like in the movies, you look back and the smoke still burning. Nah. This place is gonna be done and over with. It's desolate. Isaiah 34.
Kind of like I said, this place is gonna be a wasteland, But that's all you have to continue on with the last verse, right? Verse 18. It says, "Here is wisdom. Let him that have understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man." Right. So what does this mean? This is the number of a man, not some spiritual demon like the people would have you think this is just the spiritual demon Satan and so on and so forth, and that's it. No, it says it's the number of a man, right? This is the man in the flesh. Now, who is this man? We're talking about Esau Edom, right? it says that his number is 600 You know, so again, we're talking about Esau Edom here, man. This is the number of a man. So when you go through the scriptures, right, you got to be able to identify who these people are, and throughout this whole chapter, we have clearly identified who is the wicked, who is, you know, like we've identified who's the sons of the Most High, the sons of man, and the sons of the wicked, right? The sons of the Most High, who? That's Israel, right? The sons of man, those are the nations. Then you got the sons of the wicked. That's Esau, Edom.
And also identified to you that what Russia is going to be the downfall of this demonic kingdom, man. You know, this wicked kingdom. This place is demonic and evil. And you know, Yahweh outside Ezekiel 38, he's going to put his verse 13 and 2. You know, leopard like beats a leopard in the feet of a bear. That bear, you know, Russia is going to be a downfall of this place. And another quick point, as brother brought out a while ago when we was reading that exact precept. These animals align with the symbols of these nations.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to the leopard, you know, the Greeks, you know, what he used to wear, a leopard coat on his head.
Alexander, when you go into it, Alexander the Great, right? Alexander the Greek, right? He used to wear like a leopard's hide, you know, when he used to go into battles. So and so. Like if you look up, you know, just again, you gotta do your research, man. When you look up when you look up things on the internet, you'll see like he's often like he has statues with, you know, with the leopard on, or there's images with him with the leopard skin, or like with the leopard's hide.
I just want to show you this, right? Russian symbol animal. What they say? You can see it. Probably a little too high. It was probably a little blurry. It's like you, because you're ready, but I want you to see it for yourself. You know, what they say? The Eurasian bear. Come on, man. It's there, right? When you search up the symbol lion for Great Britain. I said the symbol. I said it. The symbol animal for Great Britain. The lion, man.
It's that what's it called? They call it the Griffith. The Griffith. You know that it's like the symbol of that lion. It's like sitting there. It's the Griffith.
Come on, man. It's plain.
Like America, as they exalt themselves as what? The eagle. They love the bald eagle. You know, that's a felony. You kill a bald eagle, that's a felony.
Right. And I had searched this up as well. Right. So I searched up 600 and 6, right? So it says 600 and 6 is in, I don't want to say that word. Archaic phrase from the King James Bible, meaning 666. You know, where 60 equals 60, 320s translating to 600 plus 60 plus 6. It is famously known for the number of the beast, which is American NATO EU, and Book of Revelation, symbolizing the ultimate human imperfection and often linked historically to Emperor Nero. I'm going to go down to the biblical and symbolic meaning. Book of Revelation is presented as a number of a man, right? Revelation 13:8. The mark of the beast represented a system opposed to Yahweh, right? This system adversary, right? Satan means adversary, you know. They adverse. This system is opposed to it. It's not nothing of Yahweh. This system is the total opposite of what Yahweh want. That's what Satan come out here to do, the devil's work. The total opposite of what Yahweh want us to do, man. Right? They're contrary to our doings, right? And perfection. In biblical numerology, 7 signifies perfection. So 6 being one number short represents human failure. 3 6s denotes complete sinful incompleteness, a stark contrast to divine perfection. When you go 2 Ezra 6 verse 7 is telling you how this age, which is this wicked, you know, sinful place, you know, is going to be destroyed, and a new age going to come, the new age of righteousness, which is the kingdom of Yahweh. It says historically, many scholars interpret 666 as a code for Nero Caesar, the Roman emperor, using gematria, assigning numbers to letters. In modern culture, 666 has become a widely recognized symbol for an antichrist, Satan, or evil in general, appearing frequently in art, literature, and popular culture, man. Right? So, hey, this is the devil, man. This is what he is. This is his number, man. 666, man. The devil, man. You know what it is, right?
This is I looked this up on Gemini, which is, you know, AI, right? And I asked him, who is the man in Revelation 13 and 18, talking about this is the number of a man, right? It says the historical view says many modern historians, scholars believe that the man was the Roman Emperor Nero, because it's it says with the gematria, it says in ancient times letters had numerical values, a practice called gematria. When you transliterate Nero Caesar into Greek, from Greek into Hebrew, it says the letters add up exactly to 603 and we know Nero to be who? Trump. You know what I'm saying? So that, you know, that's just a faith booster. But that's all I got on. You got something else?
Nah, that was really it, man. That was really it. You know, right? So Lord willing, you know, once some more with the other brothers as well. You know, I had to handle things getting it done, but Lord willing, you know, we're gonna try to start going into more breakdowns, and because it's Revelation, that's a prophetic book. You know, it's all prophecies throughout the book.
Like I said earlier, man, Yahushua comes in the spirit of prophecy,
and that's how we're gonna overcome this place. You know, and understand. Like the brother, harking on a little bit. The mark of the beast is something you can't turn back from, man. You know, and that's a big thing. You know, so again, Revelation 13. You know, Apostle John. You know, he was on the island of Patmos as a prisoner. You know, and he was showing him these things, and he seen the rise and fall of this place, all the way down to the mark of the beast, man. You know, and so it's all the way down to the RFID chip. You know, so seeing that, he wrote it down so that we can be hip and caught on to it, because once again we're gonna overcome this place by the spirit of prophecy, word of testimony, and through that, that's how we're gonna overcome this place, and we're gonna escape that second death, which Revelation 20 talks about. Those who had the second death had none effect, man. So Lord willing, right? This lesson was edifying and exalting, right? And we want to give all honor and glory to
Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua Bahashem Kakodash.
Double honors unto the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, who taught us the truth. And shout out to the whole Felix, started with the 144,000. Shalom.
Shalom.